people joining. Hello, Cambria. Welcome from the other room. Lena, what is up? Maggie, so great to have you here. Ryan, so wonderful you're able
Hey,
to say
hey.
what is up. I don't know who the 949 is, but I'm sure you're an amazing person as well. So we might have a few more people joining us, so I'll keep inviting people as they come in. However, we're going to get started today with just a little warm up because some of you might know each other, many of you don't know each other. And so I would just love to know in the chat, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You don't need to say your name because your name's going to be on there, but just say what is your best trip you have ever been on in your life? What is your favorite trip that you have ever done? And if you can't think of one, what's up, Julie? Great to see you. Wonderful to meet you. If you can't think of, so what we're doing right now, for those of you who just joined, you're going to share in the chat a little bit about yourself, which is the number one best trip you have ever experienced. And we're going to see what people come up with. No pressure, just have fun with it. That's the whole point of it. So as everybody kind of gets settled in and shares that in the chat, I am going to make sure I can see it. Oh, I see. That is Sophia on the phone. Welcome, Sophia. Great to have you by phone, even though your Wi-Fi is down. All right. So as these are starting to come in, Mike says that his Hawaii trip he took when he was 10 years old, snorkeling and boogie boarding. That sounds amazing. My girlfriend Cambria, who's here with me, her Christmas gift to me was a trip to Hawaii, and we've been trying to get that happening. It's been so long, and actually, just speaking for her, on our Guatemala trip, when we did a big visioning day, we had a whole day developed to visioning. What Cambria came up with is one of the things that would make her life most fulfilling would be to take her family, and luckily me as well, to Hawaii. So now that's something that is in motion. That was what she discovered. Morgan was a trip to Italy, Rome, Positano, and Capri. I feel like I've seen photos from that trip. I think I know some of the people you went with. That's so cool. That looks beautiful. Eric, where are you, Eric? Oh, I see you there. Kayaking through New Zealand, incredible. Maggie went to the Virgin Islands. I've always wanted to go there. Mike also, the sugarcane fields in Hawaii, I'm guessing, was super, super cool. And Annie, where's Annie? Oh, there you are. What's up, Annie? You did a silent meditation retreat in Colorado. Cambria's trip to Thailand in 11 was. You guys are all so well traveled. This is amazing. Pepe went to South Africa with music, food, dancing, and culture. Lena is undecided between Australia and New Zealand and Fiji. Okay. And she says, honestly, Briggs Guatemala trip. Promise I'm not a plant. Yes. Lena, I'll pay you after. I really appreciate it. Julie was just in the Sahara Desert in Morocco. Wow, that's amazing. These are all just our next brick retreats. If you guys didn't know, this is now what's happening.
I have a great spot for us.
Okay, yeah, I'll hit you up on that. Perfect. And then skydiving in Switzerland when you backpacked in Europe. That seems like a whole lot of that seems like something Leon would put together, that's for sure. Who you will get to meet very shortly. And Ryan, Burning Man, 3 times, Black Rock City. I love it. Cool. So we got a little bit warmed up. These are some of the best experiences we've had in our lives. Maybe you've had some ideas from this. I know I personally have. So this call, just to make sure you're on the right call, this is a call about Brick's Zion Leadership Retreat. You are all here because you are either attending the retreat or you are curious about the retreat and want to learn more and want to know who I am or who Leon is, who's our guide, who you'll meet, who's putting basically the entire experience together, or meet some of the other people who are attending. And so if that is not what you thought this was, then you have permission to leave now. However, you're probably in the right place. What's up, Brian? Great to see your face. All those amazing awards. Look at that. That's amazing. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tommy Sobel, and I'm the founder of Brick. I basically created Brick because I was addicted to my phone. I was working in the film industry. I was actually Steven Spielberg's assistant for a number of years, and that was an incredible experience. But I had this position where I had to be on my phone a lot, and I realized that it was causing issues with my mental health. And so I ended up taking some of my background before I was in the film industry in neuroscience, because I was a published neuroscientist actually, and started to apply some rudimentary practices on myself. Can I turn my phone off for an hour a day to do something that I love in the real world, which was read? And that made a significant change in my life. And it ended up giving me the confidence to actually put my phone down in social situations. It was like a turning point for me. And so I turned that into a daily challenge, which was, can you turn your phone into a brick for an hour a day and do something that you love in the real world? And that kind of challenge, a lot of people resonated with in my friend group and in my community. And so a community started to form around it. And we started throwing these phone-free dinner parties and events. And it just kind of blew up into this grassroots movement of really amazing people who were dissatisfied with their relationship with screens, like I was, and wanted to reconnect with themselves and other people in the natural world. And so that was about 5 years ago, if you can believe it. And since then, Brick has grown to around 6,000 people all over the world. We've thrown 5 or 6 different retreats. We just came back from Guatemala back in October, which some of you were there for. And we got our next one coming up. And so that is a little bit about me and Brick and why I do this. What's amazing is through this process over the last 5 years, I've basically gone from being on my phone for 10 hours a day down to an average of 1 hour a day. I've gone from being this kind of burnt out, overwhelmed executive, kind of an overwhelmed underachiever, to having left the corporate world altogether, and I'm now following my own vision for my life, and now I'm in a position where I get to, as a coach, as a digital habits coach, actually help other leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs to maximize their time and productivity each day as well. And so that is what I love to do as a coach. And then these Brick retreats really are a way for my clients to celebrate all their achievements, for people to get together in person and actually make this a community experience. Because, you know, although we can get a lot of things done over Zoom, being in person with other people off the grid really has some magic to it. And I know, like, Morgan and Peppy, Eric, you all have been on some past Brick retreats. Peppy came to the very first one in Joshua Retreat back in 2018. And so many of you know this experience, and I just really appreciate that you all are here as Brick has continued to grow to be a part of what's next. Because honestly, this thing that we have coming up that Leon will share about when he hops on is going to be really special. Definitely the best one yet. So that is a little bit about me. Now, also thanks to our friends at Nécessaire, which is this really cool, minimally branded body wash company. They're going to be giving away 10 of these body washes. This is literally mine that I pulled from the shower, so you can see. And at the end of this, about 60-minute session, 10 of you are going to come away with that. So I hope that you like being clean. So we have a super special guest who will be joining very soon. Leon is actually in Saudi Arabia right now. And he's there because he's putting together this incredible experience, I believe, for like the Saudi Arabian government. Don't quote me on that. And so he had a couple logistical issues, so he'll be showing up in a few minutes, but he's literally across the world planning something special before he flies back and makes Zion happen. But he will be on very soon. And so, I'll just share the partnership with Leon has been really special because, as many of you have experienced from past retreats, whether you went to Ojai or like Morgan did or Joshua Tree, that was basically me and my girlfriend Cambria here putting on those retreats ourselves. And although they were incredibly rewarding and truly, I think, were magical experiences, I had to wear way too many hats. And from the promotion to the curation to the meal planning and the logistics and, hey, this bathroom's out of toilet paper, like all of the miscellaneous things that do come up in this dynamic experience would leave me feeling myself kind of burnt out and overwhelmed. And so when I had a chance to meet Leon at a retreat, I didn't know it at the time, but it truly was the perfect partnership. Now, I don't know, I'll say this before he joins, but Leon is the #1 adventure guide in all of Latin America. You can look him up on TripAdvisor. And he's been leading retreats, trips for teams and businesses and groups like ours over the last 17 years in 32 different countries. And so there really is nobody in the world who's better than him at this. And so, I did just realize that I forgot to set some ground rules. So I'm gonna just take a moment to slow down and set some ground rules because I forgot. So the first thing is, if you are willing to just be distraction free, here we are, only 60 minutes together. If you're willing to just turn off all potential distractions, put your computer in do not disturb mode, that is what Brick is all about. The second thing, if you would be so courageous, is to show your screen. So although we're on Zoom and I know Zoom fatigue is real, being able to see each other in person, to actually be fully present, is a key component to the Brick experience. It'll allow us to actually feel like we're getting to know each other here on this call. And so if you can't show your screen, it's absolutely okay. But if you are willing to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and show up, that is one of the guidelines. That'd be greatly appreciated. And Pepe, I still cannot tell if that is actually you and you're frozen, or if that is just the perfect photo for you. And obviously, Sophia, you're over the phone, so I know you can't do that. And then the third guideline is just more general, which is play full out. So on this call, if you have a question, if something doesn't make sense to you, I want to hear about it. Please share it in the chat. We'll be answering any questions that you guys have, and play full out. So be present, show your screen, and play full out. Those are the guidelines. Amazing. So as we move on, we do have Leon joining us at the perfect time. Let's all, thank you so much. What's up, Eric? All right, Leon, you are on. So oh, we can't hear you. Leon, we can't hear you. Leon, we can't hear you. He must not be able to hear us. Oh, there we go. You're on mute, Leon.
How about
there
now?
We go. There we go. Welcome.
All right, thank you guys. I'm sorry, I'm in Saudi Arabia. There was a huge camel jam, and we're back. So that's apologies from this end.
No worries. We're all getting to know each other. You know, Leon, this type of experience is, I think, a little bit of a testament to what Leon has created for his life. Not being late, but I mean that he's literally in Saudi Arabia competing with camels to get to a meeting. And, you know, this guy, more than probably anybody I've met, truly lives the fuck yes life. He is a digital nomad, whether he's scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef to rock climbing without a parachute in some crazy place. Leon is always somewhere crazy all over the world, like Indiana Jones style, just kind of living his best life and putting together experiences for other people. And so, just like being around you, Leon, you know, gives me more energy and inspires me to be more active and engaged in the real world, in the natural world. And so, yeah, we're so grateful to have you and that you were able to join us.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm very excited to talk about what's coming up, to talk, answer any questions, and to get you guys excited, because my whole world is all about creating excitement for other people. And Tommy and I have already worked together once, and we've created some magic once, and I can't wait to to do this again, and hopefully see some of these familiar, well, I don't know if I can see familiar faces on here, but hopefully after this trip, you guys will be familiar faces. So yeah, any questions or anything you want to know, please shoot me questions.
Yeah, let's do it. So I think I have a question first, which is, you know, we did this Guatemala trip in October, and I know that there were specific reasons for why we did Guatemala, which we won't get into here. This trip is about Zion, but if you are curious about why we went to Guatemala, there's a video on my YouTube where you can learn that. But what Zion, if you guys don't know, probably nobody here does, going to Zion as our second retreat together was actually Leon's idea. And so, Leon, I'd love to know why Zion? You know, we just came back from this international retreat. What is about Zion National Park? Like, what makes it special and unique? And why did you decide for us to have our next experience there?
Very simple, really. Like, because when I went there last year for my first time, and it is the most otherworldly, crazy, creative, inducing. Like, it gave me the chills going through it. I don't know if anyone here has actually been there, but it's a little bit like Mars, but on acid. It has the most crazy slot canyons. It has the most incredible like geology in general. And there's just some magical energy about the place. The place is an experience in itself. So just being there makes a lot of sense for this community, because it is like it's kind of like the definition of being disconnected from the digital world. You really are in, you can't be anything except present when you're in Zion National Park. And it was what I remember speaking to people from our last retreat, and I know that some people said that they were actually, you know, they've been there quite a few times as a kid, and they've been there multiple times after we announced we were doing Zion. And I actually saw it as a challenge that I really wanted to take on, that even though some people may well have been there and had the experience of Zion, that we could create something 100% unique that was guaranteed that nobody, even if you've ever been there before, would have ever experienced before.
And so that's what we're doing. I have a quick question before you move on, Leon, just so we can get a little bit of an understanding of where each other's at. Just with a raise of hands, who is coming to Zion? Who's already in and coming to Zion? Okay, amazing. And then who here, what other questions can I ask? Who here has been to a brick event before? I mean, a brick retreat before? Okay, all right. And then who came on the Guatemala trip with Leon and Cambria and Lena. I see. So who? Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so we have a sense of who's attending. Who here has been to Zion before? Eric has. Awesome. So for most of the people here, it is going to be the first time anyway, it sounds like. But it's good to know for the people who have been before, like Eric or anybody else that's watching this replay, that even if you think you know Zion, this is going to be a completely different experience. And I know, for example, to get a little bit more specific, what Leon has found is within the national park, we're actually going to be taking over an entire 30-acre village, this glamping village that is usually booked out for individual Airbnbs. It's like one of those Airbnb, like I stayed in this amazing yurt in Zion TikTok kind of places. And so we're taking over the entire place. It's got 21 different yurts. They're all super luxurious with queen beds and electricity. It's like, you know, it's not camping. This is like the true glamping in its truest form, you know, with bathrooms and cozy areas with warmth and fireplaces and bonfires and stuff. And so that's going to be the accommodations. And then Leon, do you want to reveal any of the experiences that we have in store? Oh, you're muted again. You want me to unmute you?
Sorry. Yeah, I am actually the opposite of what your clients are, because I am super bad with technology because I don't use it very often. And it's super obvious when I get on these things that I don't. So apologies for that. So I'm not going to let all of the cats out the bag because, of course, surprise is what keeps us all alive and what people come along to these things for. But just to give you a little sneak peek of what's coming up. For those of you who've not been there before, like I said, Zion is known for slot canyons. It's known for, it's just extraordinary geology. So one of the things that it's most known for, and is, you know, and I'm most excited to take people to unlock that inner adventure inside them, is to take them hiking through these crazy little, crazy slot canyon walkways, where we will also be doing rappelling down into these slot canyons, some of which may, depending on the weather, have waterfalls falling down through them. To get to these canyons, we'll be taking some pretty adventurous transports that I don't want to kind of disclose at the moment, because just know that arriving to these places, or everything that you think that you might be doing, is going to be done in a slightly altered way that is going to be designed to be very exciting. So we're going to have, on the one side, we're going to have a lot of adventure and a little bit of adrenaline. There's always going to be the option for those of you that aren't that adventurous and adrenaline seeking to have less adrenaline, less adventurous routes. But that's going to be a little bit at the core of what we're going to be doing. Other things is going to be, of course, this is all about connection to each other and to the atmosphere around us. So we have a lot of experiences that I've designed specifically to connect us all together. For those of you that don't know much about me, I've created a number of different interactive dining experience restaurants all around the world, which 100% designed to tell the narrative of different areas through its food, through its drink, and through highly entertaining storytelling. It is also designed to connect travelers that don't know each other, individuals and couples that are passing through countries as well. So I have created a dining experience like no other that really is going to make you live and feel Zion like no other experience is going to do. So I'm very, very proud of what we've been putting together. And I've been working with a number of different locals in the area to be able to help me execute. But if you guys like food, and you guys like excitement, and you like connection, and you like awesome people, then that is going to be a real highlight of this trip. other things about our, like Tommy rightfully said, we've rented out the entire glamping space, which means that this is basically a blank canvas for many different activities that we're going to be doing together during the retreat as well. This one's shorter than our last one. And so I really don't want to say everything that we're doing, because we have 3 days, and each day I have a surprise that you most definitely wouldn't expect. I would say expect the unexpected, turn up with an open mind. Tommy's going to teach some unbelievable skills to help you get some of your life back. And I'm going to show you ways that you can use that time in the wilderness in order to make the most of it. So gastronomy, adventure, excitement, human connection. Expect all of those to be developed in an experiential format and given to you as a surprise.
Thank you, Leon. Well said. Super exciting. I know that you bit your tongue a little bit on some of the specifics there, so I don't know if you guys are excited by that, if you're confused, maybe a little bit of both. You're like, what is he talking about? What is this type of transport? Just know that it's all by design, and that what Leon does best at, and maybe I'll let either Lena or Cambria share this because they went to Guatemala, but Leon does an incredible job putting the cherry on top of all these experiences. So like in Guatemala, if we're gonna rent out a spa like we did back then, we're not just going to go to the spa and get massages. We're gonna take this whole caravan of tuk-tuks together and become this kind of like tuk-tuk gang, and arrive all together at one time and take over the entire spa altogether. And so with Zion, we're doing our version of that with what's available here. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of a taste. Now, I think that we will get to some questions that you guys might have. Ryan says, sounds killer, and he says, excited by it. I think what Leon touched on, I came up with a little bit of a framework actually last night, if you can believe it. And so just full disclosure, I am on day 8 of COVID. I'm like healing from it. So I feel a little bit slow today. I feel much better than yesterday. And so I'm glad that this is happening. But in my kind of like illness, preparing, like, how can we express what this retreat is going to be about? I realized that there's 7 ingredients to a brick retreat. So if you're going to create a recipe for what a brick retreat actually is, there's 7 main ingredients. And if you'll give me 2 minutes, I'll share what those are. Does anybody want to know what the 7 ingredients are of a brick retreat recipe? Okay, all right, cool. So Leon mentioned a bunch of them already, but the first one that's pretty obvious, or maybe it's not obvious, but it probably is that this is a digital detox experience. So the first ingredient is that disconnect to reconnect, where we're actually going to turn our phones into bricks, put our phones down, and spend, perhaps for the first time ever, 4 full days off the grid with a group of 25 other people feels like. Many of us don't know the last time we spent a full day off our phone or a weekend off our phone, let alone an entire 4 days, in addition to being surrounded by a whole community and off the grid. Have you ever been in a phone-free community? That's what the first ingredient is. The second ingredient is that we're outdoors in nature. We're in these exploring these natural wonders that truly people travel from all over the world to take a look at. These slot canyons truly are world famous. It is like Mars on acid. Like Leon said, there is nothing like them. And so by being fully immersed in these impossible vistas, looking at the stars, seeing our position in the cosmos, suddenly we get a perspective shift on our troubles, on the things that are stressing us out, to realize sometimes the insignificance of the things that are challenging us. And it also is just a really great way to just to reframe what's really important. You know, this timeless nature that's surrounding us helps us reframe our relationship with time. The third ingredient is Leon's specialty, which is 5-star food experiences. So Leon, in addition to all the accolades I've already shared, he also owns the #2 restaurant on TripAdvisor in this area in Mexico called Playa del Carmen. And he actually owns a bunch of these restaurants all over Latin America. And they're all experiential, like he said, where you're kind of like putting on a blindfold and making a cocktail for the stranger next to you. And so he excels in these types of gamified, immersive culinary experiences. And so that is the third ingredient, is that we have like the best food of your life. I think that might have been something that Lena, maybe you mentioned, where, you know, consistently having 10 out of 10 meals, every single meal is a first, at least for me. Yeah. The fourth ingredient is that here we have Colleen joining us. The fourth ingredient is that you actually get to press the reset button. And by that, I mean the reset button on your stress, the reset button on your burnout, on your overwhelm, the reset button on your distractibility. There is something unique that happens where whatever rut you feel like you've been in, maybe you've been working nonstop through the pandemic and you haven't given yourself the vacation that you deserve. Maybe you have been feeling isolated and lonely, or maybe you're not too happy with your job or your career right now and you're considering moving in a different direction, but you haven't really been feeling like you have the energy to take the risk, or feeling like it's like, you know, feeling hesitant to do that. So this allows you to press that reset button and just get realigned and come back to the real world at the end of the retreat feeling reinvigorated, revitalized, and refreshed. And there really is nothing like these experiences to do that. So does that make sense? The fifth ingredient are these workshops. And so what's amazing about this partnership with Leon is that he handles literally everything logistically and produces the event. And I just get to show up and be the host, curate the group, and teach these workshops. And there's these frameworks that I've created over the years that have allowed a lot of my clients, you know, like Annie and Lena here, to get clarity on what they really want. So visioning workshops and discovering, in this case specifically in Zion, your genius type. The workshops about Zion specifically are going to be about what your specific genius type is. And I won't get too deep into it, but there's a whole amazing study called Wealth Dynamics. And Wealth Dynamics states that everybody is a genius, but there's actually 4 different genius types. And so if you don't know that you're a genius, then what you often do is you take what you're naturally good at, your natural gifts, for granted, and you start spending most of your time, 80 to 90% of your days, working on where you're not a genius because you see everyone else doing it better than you. And so what you can actually do when you understand, I see Ryan's resonating with that. Yeah, so and that's very common. And so if we can actually first understand what of the 4 genius types we are, then we can actually settle into that and know that that is a natural strength, and actually just surround ourselves with people of complementary genius types. And so that is one of the key traits of top performers, is they don't feel like they need to do it all themselves. They find the other people to live in their genius zone where you can live in yours. And so this experience, this partnership itself is a great example of that, where I just get to show up and lead my workshops, and Leon gets to be in his genius zone, working on the culinary experiences, the activities, all of the kind of surprises and adrenaline that is in store. And then the sixth ingredient are meditations. And I am an advanced Theta Healing instructor. If you don't know what that is, it doesn't matter. But meditation is an extremely powerful transformational way to connect with your higher self, to understand where you're limiting yourself, and we understand any fears or traumas or anxieties that have been in the way of you reaching your peak potential. And when we go into these meditative states, this is not like any meditation you have ever done before. They are completely different, and I'm not going to try to sell you on the meditations. Maybe ask some of the people who've experienced them how unique they are. But so that's a key component, and that's really where a lot of the big insights and the inner work is done on these trips. And then the final component is the friends for life. It's the community. To actually have a true sense of community is such a unique thing these days. And what I can tell you for sure is that you come out of these experiences with 20 to 30 people that you can rely on for the rest of your life, that are rooting for you, that want you to succeed. And we have had people start businesses, we've had people start relationships, we've had people become roommates. The value of the community really cannot be understated here. And so those are the 7 components. I feel like maybe I took a little bit longer than I planned, but those are the 7 ingredients of this recipe that creates something, and there's like sometimes an X factor as well that makes it crazy. So I would love to know, just because I feel like Leanne and I have been talking so much, is anybody here who's been to a past retreat want to just share a little bit about their experiences for those who are here, who are considering whether or not they want to come to the next one? What did anything that I shared make sense to elaborate on or comment on? Would anybody be willing to share?
I'll share.
Perfect.
Hi, everyone. Excuse me, I'm also getting over COVID. So, but yeah, I just wanted to emphasize how amazing the Guatemala trip was. I think if you've been to brick retreats in the past, like in Ojai or Joshua Tree, like Tommy said, those were all very magical experiences and very kind of, I would say that was like brick 1.0. And the Guatemala retreat that we just did a couple months ago with Leon was like taking those retreats to the next level. And I so many people that came on the trip really said their expectations were just like blown out of the water. Like our minds were blown. The curation was just crazy. Like every hour of the day we had something amazing planned. The food was out of control. Like the culinary experience that Leon put together was crazy. Everything from the food to the drinks. We had chefs with us the entire time that were just so amazing that you would never be able to find, on your own. And so I am so excited to see what Leon has in store for us in Zion. And I think even though they're, being kind of secretive and want to leave the surprise as a surprise, I would just trust that he's putting together the most amazing activities, because Guatemala was crazy and you couldn't even like think up the activities that Leon put on for us. And like some of the surprises were like waking up at 4 a.m. and going on this crazy hike to the top of the most amazing secret view. The end of the trip, this like very, so I would just in Guatemala, very excited. Yeah. Can you guys?
I lost internet there. Let's see if we are back.
How do I don't know if it's my fault,
No,
like
them.
you guys, but oh, okay. I got bits and pieces of that, Cambria. It sounded amazing.
Okay, my internet died, but we are back on. I missed the tail end of what Cambry said. I don't know who was just speaking, but it sounds like we're back on. Does anybody else want to share? Thank you so much for sharing that, Cambria. I think that was what I was hoping to hear. I mean, I think one thing also that you touched on that we neglected to mention is that we are also going to have chefs flying in from Las Vegas, I believe Las Vegas, and actually living with us in Zion as well. And so, imagine having an actual full restaurant staff living with us, creating all of the culinary, putting all the meals together. And so that's a huge part of it too.
Will there be vegan options?
Yeah, Leon, you want to respond to that?
Absolutely. All food types will be catered for. All I need to know is a little bit beforehand what all of the different dietary requirements are, but absolutely everyone will be catered for and taken care of to a super high level. So if you love food, doesn't matter if there's things you can or cannot eat, you let me know and I will translate that into the rustic culinary delights that we've got in store for you. But honestly, we have some ridiculously yummy stuff on its way, and served in a very different style than maybe that you've been used to.
I just want to chime in on the dietary restrictions because we had a really big group in Guatemala and everyone had all different kinds of crazy restrictions. Like I'm pescatarian, gluten-free, dairy-free. Like everyone had some very specific dietary restriction, and even with this big group, it went seamlessly, and every meal was specifically catered to those restrictions. And even with those restrictions, the meals were like insane. So don't worry about that. Leon's got you covered.
I think now is a great time to ask more questions. So Julie, thanks for posing that question. It was probably any question that you're feeling like asking. I guarantee there's someone else that wants to ask it as well and is hesitating. So feel free to turn off mute, ask the question, or put something in the chat. Sophia, I can see your texts now if you want to text something in instead. What other questions do you guys have about the trip?
I think you cut out when you said the type of meditation. Was there a certain type of meditation you said, or you just said meditation?
I think I said that I'm an advanced Theta Healing practitioner, and so the types of meditations that we're doing are have a basis in this energy healing modality called Theta Healing. You basically just go into a meditative state, and then once we're in that meditative state, we can do literally hundreds of different things, whether we are connecting to our higher power, our higher self, or manifesting, or understanding. There's this process called digging, where you can actually get to the bottom of any limiting beliefs that are preventing you from showing up more fully and being the person that you want to be. And so it's something that is actually my favorite part of what I do. I created a whole course, I guess you could say, that is a spin-off of it, where I work with people exclusively just on that. And it's extremely powerful and transformational. And doing it in a group setting is even more powerful because you're getting all the energies of other people and you're actually getting breakthroughs from other people's shares as well. Does anybody want to comment on that, the meditation aspect, maybe who's experienced some of that work together?
Yeah, I can. I mean, it's because that's, to be honest, like I have an interesting relationship with spirituality where I like it, but I have kind of it's not something that I would say I implement in a daily lifestyle. However, I will say that with the methods that Tommy employs, it works in a way where you can get these like almost like supercharged therapy sessions where I've done therapy for years, and sometimes it'll take a really long time to unpack and figure out like why there's something blocking me or something that's, I behave in a certain way, where in the sessions that I've done with Tommy, it's been like very quick to get to the point. So for somebody who likes to get to the point and doesn't like to waste a lot of time, love it. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably a good metric for it if it's not necessarily something that is part of my day to day, and I'm still a big fan.
Thank you.
I'd like to jump in as well, because it's not just the meditations, but the manifestations that happened in the last trip were literally, and I'm not someone who really does much of this stuff at all, but like, you cannot explain the fact that Tommy manifested a volcano to explode twice in a row. And I'm not saying this as a sales ploy, I'm just saying that like, it didn't explode any other time. We did this manifestation together and this meditation, and then literally the second that he went now, eruption. And then it didn't erupt again, and then it happened again on the second time round. So I'm not someone that really understands all this stuff. It was a first for me, and maybe many others on that trip as well, but I'm still like in awe of that particular night that all happened, and a little confused and very excited about what he can manifest on this trip.
Thank you, Leon. It is hard to believe without experiencing it yourself. And I will just clarify that it's not me that did this. It was us all together, and is the power of these group meditations. The power of it really cannot be understated, and it's true. I don't know how to explain what happened on top of that volcano, but what Leon's saying is that we were in this very clouded night, hiked on top of this one volcano, and we're hoping to see another one erupt in front of our eyes, and it wasn't doing it. And that was why we came there. That was why I think Lena even came to the Guatemala trip. She was like, I'm coming for the lava. And so we did this manifestation meditation that we did throughout the trip, different versions of it for different purposes. But that one was for us to actually have the lava erupt. And it was on cue. The moment we did it, we saw this incredible eruption of lava. It was the only time it happened all night, the entire time we were there, except for the second time when we did it, because we wanted to see it again, and then it happened again exactly on cue. So for people that had doubt the first time that it was just coincidence, which I even was like, yeah, just lucky coincidence, it actually happened again. And those are the only two times the entire 24 hours that we were in that area that anything even close to that happened. So I think that was proof of our true potential. And you know, I'll just share this briefly. I didn't before, but you know, we have themes of these trips, and the theme of Zion is to unearth your peak potential. And I truly believe that we are superhuman. We all have superpowers. We all have the ability to make lava erupt from volcanoes, but we don't necessarily believe it in ourselves. We allow ourselves to play small. And so what these trips are about is for us to get out of our daily lives, get out of our comfort zones, go into a new place, get into a new environment, and with people who are interested in self-mastery and being the best version of themselves. And you can do things as crazy as lighting a volcano on fire. It really can happen. And I know and believe that on this trip, we're going to have an equally as powerful experience and personal breakthroughs as well. Any other questions about the trip? Ryan, is your hand up? Or Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah, no, Mike has his hand up first. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so thanks. So I actually had, the only time I've ever heard about Brick or anything was my friend sent me this and said, you should apply to go on this trip. And I said, okay, cool, because I trust her. So like I have no background whatsoever on like just Brick of itself. But so I guess the two-part question is, it sounds like there's a lot that goes on with Brick outside of just this trip, which I guess is there going to be like other things that go on throughout the year that we're supposed to be involved with or that we can get involved with. And then I know that there's an application process, but if you are accepted, like, I guess on the admin work, like, do we have to organize getting there ourselves? Like, is that all taken care of? Or like, how does it work? Like, getting there, organizational, travel, all of that stuff. And then when we get there, do we turn our phones into you? And then after we're done, we get them back and go on, like, just kind of like that type of stuff I would like to be clear on of how that all works.
Amazing. So I hear 4 questions in that, Mike, and thank you so much for showing up. I'm going to try to remember to answer all of them. The first is, I love that it sounds like Brick is everywhere and happening in many different places all the time. I love that that's what's coming across, because the truth is we actually just had one event all last year, and it was the Guatemala trip. And this year we're just going to have 2, and it's this Zion trip, and then we have another trip in the fall that is yet to be announced. And so it's really just 2 experiences a year. The way that we have it planned nowadays is we've got one domestic trip in the United States that's about 4 days for people who can't get away for longer periods. Maybe they're running a business, or have kids, or can't get away for a longer period. And then we have an international trip once a year that's longer. And so that one will be in the fall. This is like the shorter, get more action-packed, higher density of experiences in a short amount of time. In addition to the retreats themselves, I also am a coach. And so a lot of these people we're working together as clients, and they're in one of my various programs, whether they're in the Phone Smart course, where you free up 100 productive hours a month, or working in what's called super conscious therapy, where you kind of break through the inner blocks, do the inner work that's getting in the way. And so that's kind of on an ongoing basis. And, if you're interested, we could chat about some of, what that kind of is. But other than that, these are the in-person experiences we have, where they're kind of these tent poles that are super rare, because they take a lot of work, and there's a lot of effort and energy that gets put into them. It's really truly the best of the best of all of the experiences and the people that really want to come together and make the most out of what Brick is all about. Your other question was about some of the logistics. So what's amazing about these trips is that you literally just have to arrive, in this case, at the Las Vegas airport. That is where the transport is picking everyone up. So you just show up at the Las Vegas airport, and then we handle everything else. So literally, if you even want a water bottle at the airport, we got you. And you don't have to worry about transport. We're going to have private transport from the Las Vegas airport to Zion and back. And at all Brick events, they're framed around being phone free. So we're going to have an opening ceremony on Thursday, which is March 24th, where we challenge and invite everyone to disconnect from the phone. We make it really special. Maybe you'll put your phone in a treasure chest, and we'll lock it up together and set some intentions. And the idea is that then you're going to be off the grid until the closing ceremony at the end of the retreat. Now, everybody has their own their own needs here within that container. So your phone is available to you in the event of an emergency, if you feel like you need to call a loved one, once every night or something. And so if you are just willing to be discreet about that, then you can absolutely check what needs to be checked. So we're not going to be too strict here. It's really just in a way that's beneficial. The whole point is not to stress you out. It's for you to be able to detach and trust the process. I believe I answered your questions. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Brian.
Yeah, kind of pointing back to Mike, and as far as like, the gear, and it sounds awesome, rappelling and all these really cool things. Is there any specific like gear or clothing that we'll need to invest in, or that we're comfortable in? I know, I'm a big advocate for like skiing and snowboarding and owning your own boots, because you never know like what's going to fit you or not. Is there anything like that you would recommend? And thank you again, Leon, for talking and speaking to us, man. It's great. And another question after it's in the chat is, I'd like to know the name of your restaurant, because I am going there at the beginning of next month. So I'd love to come check out your restaurant.
Awesome. Well, first of all, yes, the one in Tulum is called the Traveler's Table.
Okay.
So yeah, look it up. It'd be fantastic to have you there. It'll give you a little sneak peek. Like that place, basically, if you go to that, it just drips my personality. So if you enjoy that meal, you will definitely enjoy the retreat.
All right.
When it comes to the gear, I'm gonna create closer to the time like a packing list. But you know, it's in that kind of that middle period. Where it can get pretty cold at night.
Yeah.
And it might rain. It doesn't tend to rain so much at that point, but it does rain sometimes, and it's hit and miss. So at the end of the day, there's nothing really that special that you need to bring, except for things to keep you warm and things to keep you dry. And of course, we'll be doing some hiking and we're going to be doing some rappelling. So some boots would be great. To be able to go. I would definitely recommend 2 sets of shoes in general, just because there is a possibility, if it's been raining before or there's waterfalls coming down, we may be able to be rappelling down into some water. So the ability to have something dry to go into afterwards would definitely be a plus, but you wouldn't need more than 2 sets.
Got it. Okay, cool. That helps a lot. I do a lot of tenting and camping and boondocking, so I just need to know what to bring. So that's great.
Yeah, no worries. So like literally within like a couple of weeks beforehand, I'll send out a packing list, just so that people don't accidentally forget something important. But in general, there's nothing out of the norm crazy that you're going to need to bring, except for dry and warm.
Right on. Oh, one other question. Tommy, I have this little digital telescope that does tracking on like planets, but you do need like an iPad to view it, which is cool, because then everybody doesn't have to look through the eyepiece. So is that something that you'd be open to bringing out, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe there's just a way to have it off Wi-Fi or something, so it's really just
it creates its own Wi-Fi spot, so it's all self-contained.
Super cool. That'd be amazing. I would love that.
Okay.
We were talking about having astrological components. Astronomical components, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help with that.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. I think also for those of you that maybe are travel less, like Ryan seems like you get out and go camping a lot, but if you don't have multiple pairs of boots, or you're not sure if your jacket might not be warm enough, don't worry about it. We're going to be able to provide and offer sharing opportunities for people who feel like they're missing anything. So, don't let not having any gear distract you from why you'd be coming on this trip. We got you covered. You have no need to worry.
Sorry, Tom, one other question. What time would we need to be at the Vegas airport on Thursday?
Great question. I saw that in the chat as well. Leon, do you know the answer to that yet? Excuse me.
Well, it basically we need to work out what times everyone can have their flights arriving into Vegas. So we just need to do a little research into that. But the idea is that we leave around 9 a.m. to get to Zion. It could be 9:30, it could be 8:30. It just depends on when the people that are flying in are able to get in, just so that we can get you all on the transport together. So it's going to be around 9 a.m.
Okay.
Are there going to be any options? Because I know with Guatemala, there were options to arrive early or stay beyond. Is that going to be an option for this at all, or no, because it's like a setup village kind of thing?
It's a setup village, so it's a little different on this one. So it's and also, I mean, of course, you would be able to stay afterwards because there is a glamping site, so you'd be able to have extra days if you wanted to. And yes, you could go early. So actually, I just answered your question in that one. It's not a problem.
Okay.
But my recommendation would be to stay later than to go earlier.
Sounds good.
so that you can be
Amazing.
part of the arriving all together.
So I see that we are at the top of the hour. I know that we scheduled about 60 minutes for this call, and so I would love to get to the giveaway section and the special announcement for those of you who are here and watching the replay. Before we do, are there any final last questions? I know maybe Mike and Ryan, are your hands just still up from before? Or Pepe, I love seeing your beautiful face and mask. Any questions from anybody else? You guys are all set. All right. So in that case, what we're going to do is move on to the giveaway that I know you're all super excited about. The way this is going to work is in two parts. So there is a fundamental law in the universe that you may or may not be aware of, and that is that the universe rewards fast action. Excuse me, the universe rewards fast action. When I was working for Steven Spielberg, I know that one of the things that was one of my biggest takeaways from him was how decisive he was how he made so many high-level decisions hundreds of times throughout the day, it seemed like. He was incredibly fast acting. And so the universe rewards you. The longer it takes for you to make a decision, sometimes you make fewer decisions and then you progress slower. Even if you end up making the wrong decision, sometimes making a decision is better than making no decision at all and stalling, because it's much easier for you to change directions in a moving car than in a parked car. So the universe rewards fast action. And so what I'm going to do is reward the first 5 people who registered for this event. And so the first 5 people that are here right now is Julie, Colleen, Sophia, Maggie, and Lena. You are the first 5 people who registered for this event. So let's give it up for you 5. I see the celebratory emoji. That's cool. I want to know to do that. So congratulations to you 5 for taking fast action and registering for this event and winning my body wash, your body wash. And so we've got 5 left. What'd you say?
Oh, I said slightly used. Slightly
Yeah,
soiled
I'll
body
get
wash.
you.
Thanks, Tommy.
I'll get you a different one maybe. We'll see.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Julie, Colleen, Sophia, Maggie, and Lena, you already have one. However, you can still participate in the second half of this giveaway for fun, if you like, but you can't win twice. So for those of you who have not won yet, there's a second principle, might not be the right word, but there is a second truth, which is that we are all psychic. And even if you don't know if you're psychic, you actually are. And we're going to prove that you are psychic here now. And so I want you all to know that I have something in my hand that is a specific color. And whoever's the first person to guess out loud what color it is, because you're psychic, then you win the first of 5 body washes. So feel free when you're ready to unmute yourself.
Red. Blue.
Blue. Who said blue?
Me.
I heard 2 blues at the same time. Morgan was 1. Okay, Morgan.
Wow, I'm really psychic. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay, so Morgan,
Clear.
Let's give it up for Morgan. Excuse me. So Morgan is it's so amazing to have Morgan with us today. Morgan is an incredible photographer, and she's going to be our dedicated photographer for the trip. So one of the, shaka for Morgan. She's award-winning. She's been to many brick retreats in the past, and it's really special to have you, Morgan, especially because for many of us, we often use our phones because we're trying to capture the experience. Oh, here's a beautiful slot canyon. Like, I want to make sure that I put this on Instagram, or that my family can see this, or that I can remember this forever. And so you don't need to worry about any of that, because part of what you're paying for is Morgan to be there to capture and reward winning 4K, or film your experience for you. So that's part of the service that we're offering. And Morgan, thank you again for being there. You definitely deserve to be clean when you're photographing us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Also,
So we
I
got,
wanted to say I've been to a few, but I've been to Ojai, so it's been a few years, but back on like the friendships and the co-working, I've just gotten so much out of it. I got best friends out of it. I met Nem, who is a director who hired me. There's just so many connections that happen, and it's so organic, and you become so close to these people that it's just like, you can't even describe it. So anyways, I'm so excited, and I love everything that Tommy does. So if you're gonna come or thinking about coming, you should come. That's all.
thank you. Thank you,
Your
Morgan.
nails are blue too.
Wow, you knew it. You knew it. Super psychic. Okay, so Morgan also mentioned another good point, which is Nem, who is not here today, but he is our videographer. I actually met Ryan through Nem, so thank you, Nem, for that. And Nem is also an award-winning videographer. He's actually Disney World's go-to director for all their commercials right now. And so we're super lucky to actually have Nem coming to Zion with us to be our director, our videographer for the trip. So not only do we have Morgan taking stills, we also have Nem, who's gonna have his drones and this incredible camera equipment. And if you watched the video from Guatemala, you know how truly National Geographic quality his work really is. And so we're really, really grateful to have Nem joining us. I know he's super excited. He actually just bought one of those new Broncos that are like super popular, and he's going to be driving it to Zion, which is crazy, and actually taking a whole video on his way there as well, which is going to be cool. Okay, back to the giveaway. I'm holding a new color in my hand, and when you're ready, what color is it? Who is the most psychic right now?
Yellow.
Red.
Red.
Black.
Orange.
Green.
Teal.
Green. Who said green? Peppy. Peppy, congratulations. All right, Peppy wins. Let's give it up for Peppy. All right. Peppy wins the second one. Okay, we got 3 left. I have a new color in my hand. What color am I holding now?
Orange.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow. Who said yellow? Ryan.
There's 2 or 3.
Amazing. Let's give it up for Ryan. Okay. Congrats, Ryan. Okay, we got 2 left. What color am I holding in my hand now?
Black.
Pink.
Orange.
Purple.
Purple. Congratulations, Cambria. Okay, Cambria wins. And last one, what color am I holding in my hand now?
White.
Red.
Red. Leon, you can't win though. Leon, let's give it up for Leon for winning. Okay, okay, I got another one. What is the color in my hand now?
Black.
Pink.
Nope. Pink. Who said pink?
Oh, but I already won.
Okay, I don't even know who that is. Oh, Peppy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, who has not won yet?
Mike.
Mike. Mike's clean enough. Okay.
I
All
have a
right.
lot of washes that I haven't used in my house, but I'll take another one if you guys want.
Got it. Bring them to Zion. We'll get super clean together. Okay, amazing. So if anybody wants to try out one of the Nécessaire body washes and you didn't already win, feel free to just message me afterwards. And for everybody that did win, I want you to email me your address. This is my email, and we'll get them mailed to you. So let's give it up for everybody who won. Congratulations. And so finally, before we go, you all have been so amazing on this call. It's so nice to meet so many of you, Mike and Julie, and to see so many faces again that I love, Peppy, and seeing Colleen here, and hearing Sophia, seeing Ryan. It's been so nice to have you. I want to also reward you for showing up. I know that it's hard to get on a Zoom call, but you guys all did it, and hopefully you got what you were looking for. You got to understand what Brick is all about. Mike didn't even know what Brick was like last week, and he found his way to us. And so I'm super grateful for you. So for those of you who have not committed to coming on the retreat yet, but you now want to, if that is what happens, then I'm going to gift you the cheapest price. So the price for Guatemala currently right now is $3,750, which is our February. So, oh yeah, sorry, for Zion. Thanks, Cambria. Is $3,750. But for those of you who showed up today or who watched the replay, for being here, you're going to get the absolute cheapest price. This is like the at cost price. We're not making any money on it. It's just because you showed up, you played full out. You're the kind of people that we want to have in this experience and to be a part of the Brick community so that we can grow, because it really truly is still just the beginning. So it would only be $3,500 total. Obviously, we all are already in touch. I've got calls to schedule with Mike and Sophia and a few others as well. And so that is it. So congratulations on attending, or thank you for attending Brick's Zion Leadership Retreat Q&A. Leon, thank you so much for joining us. It's like 10 p.m. over there in Saudi Arabia. Beat the camels to this, and thank you all for joining, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
Thanks, Tommy.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, guys.
Bye.